أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه اللهم نور قلوبنا واشرح صدورنا بنور القرآن والإيمان والإسلام اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I apologize for the delay. Inshallah, we can start without any more delay. Inshallah, we will continue with the fifth point of 25th word. And this is I guess the first, aspect of the first ray under the 25th word. This is the first light and then first ray. And under it, I guess there's still the first aspect. Oh no, sorry. My fault. Okay, this is the 25th word. The first light and then first ray. And in my book, this is the page 397, and I'm sharing the link again on Risale-i. This is the fifth point. I'm also sharing the text on screen. So where we will study the excellence in its manner of exposition, the way it put things, explains things, or in the way it talks about things. Maybe we could call it as rhetoric. I'm not sure if in its manner of exposition would have this meaning, but the way I understand, as we will see, it is about the way it talks about things, the Quran, the way Quran talks about things. This is so far we studied different aspects of Quran. I would say mostly, not entirely, but mostly from a linguistic perspective, the language perspective. We studied how words are carefully chosen, how the order of wordings are carefully chosen. And then we also studied how the meanings are carefully placed into the language, the way it is articulated. We studied even the number of words or number of letters, how they are all come together to create a miraculous narration, a miraculous speech, a speech that cannot be replicated by human beings. Of course, like at the first layer, we are, especially if we do not know Arabic, if we do not speak Arabic, the first thing that we interact with when it comes to Quran, it's meaning, and the meaning as we find in translations. This is the first thing that we interact with. Or maybe the second thing, it depends on the culture, right? In most cultures, especially if you coming from an Islamic background, if your family, for instance, a religious, like your father, your mother are religious and taught you have to read Quran even before, reading your own language, or maybe after, it doesn't matter, but without knowing the meaning. So in many cultures, including ours, we do, have trainings, education when we are very young children, in have to read Quran, just have to read Arabic without, understanding it, just the letters, just the writing. So this would be the first thing. So you would be somehow familiar with the sound of Quran, how it sounds, whether it is pleasant or not, whether you enjoy or not. Of course, it depends on your own personality and life experience. But other than that, maybe the first, let's say, the conscious interaction with Quran, the experience with Quran, is its meaning. And then, as I said, its meaning as it is translated. And then as you go further and as you study more and more, if you do study more and more, you will interact with, or you will get familiar with other aspects as well. If you study Arabic, for instance, you will be familiar with the grammar of Quran, the word choices of Quran. Why in one ayah the feminine word is, the chosen, in another ayah the masculine word is chosen. Why in one ayah the plural form is, the use, but in another ayah or another part of the same ayah maybe a singular form is used. Or why this specific word is, the use, while there are many other words with similar meanings. So all these different aspects also come into play as you personally get interested and start studying. And I assume there's, like when I say getting interested, I do not mean having an academic interest. So I don't mean like studying the language of Quran for the sake of, I don't know, writing an article or trying to find the points that you can criticize and so on and so forth. But, you, for some reason, you are already convinced that, there must be a creator of this universe, of me, and this creator must speak to me. This creator send me down some, let's say, quote unquote, text or speech that I can understand. And the sending down in this regard would mean sending you down something that you can, the lowly creature can understand. So if you are in such a position, and if you have this expectation that my creator should speak to me in a way that I can read, in a way that I can clearly understand, it shouldn't be in a way that my creator speaks when creating the universe, for instance, right? The universe itself, the everything I have, including myself, is a speech of my creator. That's for sure. So my creator is already speaking to me through his creations. But when it comes to these creations are, they do not speak to me directly. They do not speak to me in a human language. So they are not that clear, right? I have to go through some, like a certain steps to get some meaning out of them. So I have these expectations that my creator should speak to me in a way that I can also understand, as a human being understand. So it should be in a human language. And when I come to this when I have this expectation, when I come to this point, after that, when I start to study Quran with an assumption or with an realization that my Creator is speaking to me. So this speech is from my Creator. It's not a regular speech. It's from my Creator who creates everything, including all languages. So I do expect that this speech should be, different than any other speech. Different, not in the sense that it will have exceptional letters or words that I cannot understand, but rather it will be different in the sense that even like a single word should be placed there for a purpose. So if there are, let's say, a different candidates, different choices for the same meaning, like different words for asking, for instance, in Arabic, right? We have multiple type of asking, but only one of them is used in, let's say, in a certain ayah, certain verse. So because it's a speech from my Creator, I have this expectation that this choice should be for a purpose. Every letter, the way these letters follow them like each other, the way the narration goes, the way the sounds are produced, every aspect I expect as a human being, because I have a potentiality, I have this potential to understand each of these aspects. As a human being, I have this expectation that this speech must have a purpose with every choice, must have a wisdom with every choice. And here in this text, so far, our author, lovely author, may Allah be pleased with him, showed us to the extent he can follow, to the as much as he can understand, that indeed every aspect, all these aspects have some wisdom in it. He was giving us an example, for instance, the last week, saying that the number of the letter lam or aleph or ya or sad used in a certain ayah had some wisdom, had some meaning, he was saying. By the way, I realized I'm pronouncing the letter aleph as aleph, like, with an English accent. So I apologize for that. So that's the distance I have from the Arabic language. May Allah forgive me. So yes, so far we studied all these different aspects, and the author, again, as much as he can, the figure out, as much as he can see, been sharing us the wisdom, the purpose in all these different choices in Quran, and saying that such a wisdom, such a purpose cannot be a product of a human mind. A human mind wouldn't able to, keep a counting of every letters used, so that there will be a nice transition, there will be nice flow between ayahs, even in terms of the letters or sounds. And of course, on top of that, he was talking about all the different meanings, all beautiful and exceptional meanings that arise from the word choices or word ordering choices. So that was the summary as I can recall. So before starting reading the fifth point, where we will start studying another aspect of miraculousness of narration of Quran, or the text of Quran, speech of Quran, is there any point that you like to add or distract or subtract, or the parts that you agree, the parts that you do not agree, simply disagree, I will be happy to hear. Okay, silence, which means we should start reading the fifth point. So can we have a volunteer for reading the fifth point for us? One volunteer would suffice. Oh, Atik, I was expecting you to be, volunteers. So I, Jazakallah khairan. I really appreciate. Atik, please go ahead. You can start reading, and I will tell you when to stop, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. One sec. Okay, fifth point. This is the excellence in its manner of exposition, that is to say, the superiority, conciseness, and grandeur. Just as there is eloquence in the word order, the wording, and the meaning, and a uniqueness in its style, so in its manner of exposition is there a superiority and excellence. Indeed, all the categories and the levels of speech and address, like encouragement and deterring, praise and censure, demonstration and guidance, explanation and silencing and argument, are at the highest degree in the Quran's exposition. Of the innumerable examples of its manner of exposition in the category of encouragement and urging is that in Surah has there not been, or maybe they mean the ayah, has there not been over man a long period of time when he was nothing, not even mentioned? Surah 76, ayah 1. This is as sweet as the water of Kauthar and flows with the fluency of the spring of Salsabil. It is as fine as the raiments of the Huris. Of the numerous examples of the category of deterring and threatening is the start of another surah, 88, Surah 88. Has the story reached you of the overwhelming event? Here, the Quran's exposition has an effect like lead boiling in the ears of the people of misguidance, and fire burning in their brains, and zakkum scalding their palates, and hell assaulting their faces, and like a bitter, thorny tree in their stomachs. An official like hell, charged by someone with inflicting torment and torture in order to demonstrate his threats, and its splitting apart with seething rage, and its saying, well nigh bursting with fury. 67:8. Certainly show how awesomely dreadful that person's threats are. Of the thousands of examples in the category of praise, the Quran's manner of exposition in the 5 surahs starting Alhamdulillah is brilliant like the sun. The note says, I can't read it. Oh. In these phrases are an allusion to the matter. I don't know. I can't see the rest of the note. Adorned like the stars, majestic like the heavens and the earth, lovable like the angels, compassionate like tenderness towards young in this world, and beautiful like paradise in the hereafter. Of the thousands of examples in the category of censure and restraint in the verse, would any among you like to eat the flesh of his dead brother? 49 verse 12. It censures 6 times. It restrains from backbiting forcibly 6 times over. It is like this, as is known. The Hamza at the beginning of the verse is interrogative. This seeps through all the words of the verse like water. Thus, with the first Hamza, it asks, have you no reason, the seat of question and answer, that you do not understand how ugly it is? With the second, it asks, with the word like, is your heart, the seat of love and hate, so corrupted that it loves the most despicable thing? With the third, it asks with the words, one of you, what has happened to your social life and civilization, which receives its vitality from the community that it finds acceptable an act which thus poisons your life? With the fourth, it asks with the words, to eat the flesh, what has happened to your humanity, that you tear apart your friend like a savage beast? With the fifth, it asks with the words, your brother, have you no compassion and fellow feeling, that you unjustly tear with your teeth at the character of the one injured, your brother? In so many respects, have you no reason, that you bite at your own limbs like a madman? And with the sixth, it asks with the word dead, where is your conscience? Is your nature so corrupted that you do the most repulsive thing to the most respected person, your brother, like eating his flesh? That is to say, backbiting is censured and despised by the reason, the heart, the humanity, the conscience, human nature, and social and national solidarity. So see how this verse restrains from this crime in 6 concise degrees on 6 miraculous levels.
Oh, we can stop here. Jazakallah khairan. Thanks a lot. So let's go back to beginning and study each example one by one, inshallah. Oh, is there any comments so far or questions before we study each example? Okay, I assume no. The fifth point, this is the excellence in its manner of exposition, that is to say, the superiority, consciousness, and the grandeur, just as there's eloquence in the word order, the wording, the meaning, and the uniqueness in its style. So in its manner of exposition, is there a superiority and excellence? Indeed, all the categories and levels of speech and address, like encouragement and deterring. So we will see some example of encouragement, and then we will see an example of deterring, for instance, in the following part. The praise and censure, again, we will see some example of praise. Demonstration and guidance, explanation and silencing in argument are at the highest degree in the Quran's exposition. So, as we discussed at the beginning, so just like in many other aspects of language or narration or speech, this specific aspect of Quran as well, which is about the manner of exposition, its manner of exposition, how it explains or talks about things, there is also a miraculousness. And then he talks about some example, like there are different modes of speech. So a speech, for instance, could be there for praising something, or for guidance, or for encouragement, or maybe sometimes it is for deterring. An author says in each these examples, in each of these different modes of speech, the way they are used in Quran are at the highest degree, highest degree of these modes. So for instance, when there is an encouragement, you will see the best encouragement in Quran. When it is about the deterring, you will see the best example of deterring. When you read these specific, the ayahs, you will feel this deterring. You will feel compelled to deter from it, or avoid whatever is mentioned. And then it continues. It says, of the innumerable examples of its manner of exposition in the category of encouragement. So when it comes to encouragement, it says, and urging, encouragement and urging, is that in Surah Insan. So this is, let me check again. Yes, this is Surah Insan, which is 76th Surah. I will open it in a moment. It says the Surah which starts with, has there not been over man a long period of time when he was nothing? So this Surah, which starts with this is, it says of the innumerable examples, this is one of the best example of encouragement and urging. It says, this is as sweet as the water of Kawthar and flows with the fluency of the spring of Salsabil. Kawthar and Salsabil, they are narrated as being a river or the spring in heaven, gardens of heaven. It is as fine as the raiment of the Huris, another element of heaven. So this surah, the author says, I'm sorry for, I'm just checking something. This surah, the author says, is one of the best example of encouragement. Let's look at this surah together, inshallah. I copied some ayahs from Surah Insan, because we will read a lot of ayahs. I apologize for not including the Arabic, because it would take at least half an hour for me to read. I'm really slow when it comes to Arabic. So I chose the quickest way, the easiest way, and I only will read the English, one of the English translations, inshallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Has there not come upon, just a second, let me, okay. Has there not come upon man a period of time when he was not a thing mentioned? Indeed, we created man from a sperm drop mixture that we may try him, and we made him hearing and seeing. Indeed, we guided him to the way, be he grateful or be he ungrateful. Indeed, we have prepared for disbelievers chains and shackles and a blaze. Indeed, the righteous will drink from a cup whose mixture is of kafur. The kafur, some Mufassir translators, they translate it as a mixture of the good smelling flowers or this kind of stuff, but most translators kept this specific word kafur because it's proper name. A spring of which the servants of Allah will drink, they will make it gush forth in force. They fulfill woes and fear a day whose evil will be widespread. And they give food in spite of love for it to the needy, the orphan and captive. We feed you only for the countenance of Allah. We wish not from you reward or gratitude. Indeed, we fear from our Lord a day austere and distressful. So Allah will protect them from the evil of that day and give them radiance and happiness, and will reward them for what they patiently endured, a garden and silk, reclining therein and unadorned couches. They will not see therein any sun or cold, and near above them are its shades, and near above them are its shades, and its fruit to be picked will be lowered in compliance. It continues like that, giving some more details and details about the heavens. And then this first part kind of concludes as, indeed, this is for you a reward, and your effort has been appreciated. So these verses, this ayah, talks about different paths that a human being can take, different choices that we can make. We can be grateful, or we can choose not to be grateful and being ungrateful. And then, because one of these paths that we can choose is better for us, would make us, more satisfied, more, happier, there's an encouragement for one of these paths. There is encouragement for being righteous. And the encouragement is not just like, the things that we hear from, many places, that if we are righteous, the good things will happen to us, or if we, act nice, the other people will like us, or there's a, order in the society, so on and so forth. But rather something that transcends all these worldly outcomes. It speaks to the basic human needs, but in a way which is elevated, like it talks to our humanity. It says, I know what you are looking for. I know how tired you are in this world, in this life. And there is a better picture, there is a better life that awaits for you, if you like. And then all the aspects of the reward or the outcome of this righteous path is listed. And in a really interesting way, like at least this is how I feel when I read them. No matter what culture you are, no matter what kind of life experiences you've been through, these descriptions will touch your heart, will make you smile. Living in a place where we don't have to worry about the hot or cold, in a place that you don't have to worry about the shades, because the shades are following you. And everything you touch, everything the seat on is made of silk, or, so comfortable. These are, of course, some metaphors, right? As I said at the very beginning, the Quran is sent down to humans, meaning the language, these narrations, that metaphors are in a way that would make sense to our brother, let's say, Aziz, to Atik, to Birkan, to Hatice Beyza, to regular people like us. So that's the reason these metaphors are used. The speech are sent down to us, to our level. So anyway, everything is being so comfortable, so nice, and we're sitting there on these, down the chairs or couches, reclining, not even just sitting. And the fruits, when we want to eat them, they will come to us. Like we don't have to work hard, or we don't have to struggle for something. The fruits will come to us. So again, to me, this explanation is everything that I like in life, that everything that I'm, willing to have in life. When they are taken as metaphors, not that, I want to, this is my best dream, that I want to sit on somewhere and eat fruit all day. No, but, when I want something, it's coming to me without effort. When I locate myself somewhere, it's being comfortable, and the most comfortable, that I don't have any excuse for not being grateful, that I don't have anything to complain. So this is what I understand from these surahs. And this surah is kind of telling me that if you take this righteous path, your life will like this. You will see in this world and hereafter, you will see the creation doesn't have anything to complain. All these outcomes, all these foods that you enjoy in life, they are actually coming to you in compliance. They, like you claim you're struggling for things, but in reality, if you choose this righteous path, you will see that in reality, things are coming to you. Okay, I spoke too much, even for myself. Like even for Birkan, I spoke too much. So I need your immediate help with comments and questions. And yes, our loved brother, Abdulaziz, please go ahead.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. The one comment that I want to make is about when you were reading the Surah Al-Insan. Can you please go up in the English version? Yeah. So what I thought was interesting is the meaning of being grateful, because personally, my opinion is that being grateful is really key to anything to deal with faith. And it's interesting that Surah Al-Insan seems to explain or like to elaborate on the meaning of that. Like it doesn't just stop at being thoughtful and thinking about, okay, I really appreciate all these things I have been handed, but also it requires actions. So I just thought that's really interesting that immediately after dividing people between those who are grateful and those who are not, then there were like, it's tasking also to be grateful. There are like several tasks there that seem to describe people who are grateful. So I thought that's interesting. So I wanted to share that.
Jazakallah khairan. This is indeed extremely important, being grateful. Yes, it is the key for almost everything that we discussed so far in the religion. And it's interesting when I don't remember which surah it is, when we've been studying Adam alayhi salam, the story of Adam. There, the shaitan, when he was disobeying the command and then explaining himself and then saying that, okay, now you are expelling me, but I will attack people from every different the direction. I will treat them and you will find most of them ungrateful, he was saying. Not, sinful, not, unrighteous or doing bad things. He was saying that you will find most of them, the humans that tricked by Satan, ungrateful. And there it was clear that being ungrateful is the starting point of being unbeliever. Or in this context, choosing the wrong path. When we do not see the beauty in the creation, when we do not see how these beautiful things are bestowed upon us as bounties, when we cannot see things to be grateful, then the journey of loss starts there. Being ungrateful is, there's a saying in Turkish, the alcohol is the mother of all sins. I guess we can say the same thing for being ungrateful. Being ungrateful is the mother of every sin, every everything which is bad. By the way, this is not the 7th ayah, but 76th ayah. Sorry for that. This surah. Yes, Abdulaziz, please go ahead.
Yeah, so what I wanted to add is, it seems from these Surah Al-Insan, from at least as I read it right now, that also, as you said, although being ungrateful is the mother of everything bad, this surah seems to show the opposite side, which is being grateful is the mother of everything that is good. So that's what I wanted to point to, which is, sorry, I'm looking at the Arabic version. I'm gonna go back to English, which is like feeding those who, despite loving food, basically feeding those who are in need, and then and it goes on from there. So it seems that being grateful is the mother of that.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess one example we studied a few weeks ago in this very same text, when we were studying the ayah from Surah Baqarah, they give away from the things that we bestow upon them, we gave them. So when we see things that we have as bounties, when we have food and when we see it as a bounty, meaning when we are grateful for it, that it is given to us, then sharing it with others, it becomes kind of like a natural thing, natural like impulse that we have. We want to share the things that are given to us so that we can enjoy it more. Because as we give, we experience that being bestowed upon, the bounty, the concept of bounty is known to us from the first hand. Yusuf, please go ahead. By the way, let's thank to brother Yusuf for joining us. He's joining us from a place with an 8-hour difference. So let's listen to him carefully, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Inshallah, you can hear me well. So I'm now looking at verse number 23. Because in Nursi's writing, he refers to how the exposition of the language is so beautiful. Like he says, it is as sweet as the water of Kawthar, flows with the fluency of the spring of Salsabil. It is as fine as the raiment of the Houris. So he's referring to how the text is flowing, and up to verse number 23, it talks about, or as if it depicts paradise. But when we come to verse number 23, it says, as if the topic is changing, which gives the impression that up to verse number 23, the description that is made was sort of an introduction to motivate the reader. And it started with a very interesting verse. The first verse was, has there not been an endless span of time before man when he was not yet a thing to be thought of? Or I guess another translation could have been like maybe a more free translation. So does human not think about the time before himself or herself in which he was not even a thing to be mentioned? And yet, I think like I am such strong, powerful, handsome, smart, whatever person, as if I'm going to conquer the world. I have this huge ego, but the verse is reminding me of, you were not even being mentioned. Like you were born 35 years ago, and now you feel like you're so important. And then all the verses in between are like the following verses are telling us about how everything has been given, or the desires of me for which when given I'm going to be so much happy. And after this, like describing human, how human is needy, and if provided, how he would be so much happy, then comes the verse number 23. It's an interesting verse. I'm going to read the Arabic. It says, Inna, indeed we, nahnu, again another we, nazzalna, and in this word again there's another we included in the word. We step by step sent down, alayka, to you, on you. So in one side of the equation, there's this strong emphasis of we, and we send it down upon, and then comes you. Like as if, do you see the imbalance between the two sides of this equation? All the things that we have counted before, like up until verse number 22, you were not even something worthy to be mentioned at the beginning. He gave you all these things that or you are in need of all of the things. You are desiring the paradise and everything, and the paradise was described. And as if now a paradise that you can experience is being explained, which is the revelation is the paradise that you can taste, that you can experience. Just the mere fact that this we, like the creator of the heavens and the earth, is talking to you. Just take this as your paradise. The thing that has been described above is actually Quran in a sense. Your creator, the creator of the galaxies, and also your feelings, and also the feelings of your spouse, or anything that you care most about, the creator of all of these is sending down you a speech. Like this one who creates everything speaks to one who was not even worthy to be mentioned 35 years ago. Such an insignificant creature you are, although you think yourself to be very important. So he talks to you, and again, it's a very beautiful emphasis of showing the two sides of the equation, like the speaker and audience. Speaker is so magnanimous. The audience is, in a sense, very insignificant, yet being taken seriously to be spoken to. And then, inna nahnu nazzalna alayka al-Qur'ana tanzilan. So I'm feeling like the description that was mentioned above is actually a description of Quran. So Quran is your paradise in here. And author very beautifully in a few sentences that he takes in his writing is saying that this manner of speech in here itself is like paradise, or Kawthar, like the water of Kawthar, the flowing spring of Salsabil, which was also mentioned in those verses. So, I mean, it just occurred to me very beautiful that in Quran is being explained as a paradise, that you can taste, or the rivers of which you can taste by just tasting the verses of Quran, and at the very basic background of the fact that you are being spoken to. Like, think of it like I don't know, people are going crazy just to take a selfie with a famous person, like a celebrity, just to take a picture with a signature, as if, yeah, that person spared 35 seconds to put a signature over his photo and maybe put my name there. So I was the addressee of that person for a 35 second in my life. This is something that we are being so happy about. So we are lowering ourselves in front of such people, for example. We are realizing that I am so insignificant when it comes to comparing myself with this film star. Now the creator is drawing us a very real picture. It's not that superficial picture, and says, you were that insignificant. I take you as my addressee. I take you serious. I am talking to you. Are you aware of that? And my speech, the very fact that I talk to you, and in a beautiful way, it's not like a random talk, this would and could and actually should be your paradise.
Jazakallah khairan. That was really beautiful. Alhamdulillah. So you see, even when he's sleepy, he can make us pleased with his beautiful commentary. Please, people, try to imitate him. Take him as an example, inshallah. Oh, by the way, Suhail, your mic was on for a second. I assumed it was a mistake, so I muted you. So if I was wrong and you want to speak, please go ahead.
Oh, sorry, that was my mistake.
Okay, Jazakallah. Any other comments and other questions regarding this example, this specific example? So the author is talking about encouragement here. Like when you read such verses talking about heaven, talking about all these rewards, do you take it as a encouragement? What kind of encouragement? If not, why? What is missing for you? If so, why? Again, Yusuf, please go ahead.
So actually, the way that I was reading it, this is not an intimidating speech, for example. It's not saying that, like, I am talking to you from so high and you should be like, just listen to me. It's not that type either. Like as if just the mere fact that I am talking to you is such a big thing to you, as if that person of the high stature is crushing me, crushing my ego. It's not the case in here either. It's like the way the speech is happening is as if caressing a tender child, saying that, look, this is what I have been providing to you. And these are the things that you are in need of, that you desire. So such reminders are in a beautiful way, like attracting my attention and my desire. So it's not intimidating, but rather inviting me to enjoy it. So this is, I guess, in a way, this encouragement as just the mere fact that it's something that's desirable to me. but also reminding me of a, metaphorically speaking, more of a fatherly tone rather than a bossy tone, for example. It is familiarizing with me. So the thing that I am being invited to in here is something that I would like to follow, that I would like to taste. So I think it's an encouragement in this regard. It could, because the alternative is it could have been intimidating or making me sorry or just cringe for, are you trying to show off or what are you trying to do here? But it's not like that.
Jazakallah khairan again. Abdulaziz, please.
Yes, assalamu alaikum. So I also personally, and this is something probably changed for me with time. Like I used to read, for example, a page of Quran and see a lot of either very very encouraging thing or very threatening things. But recently, I don't really see it that way. That is my own experience. I see it as almost factual. Someone is telling me, well, if you want to arrive, let's say, just as an example, if you want to arrive to this location that you would like to arrive to, then you have to make a right and make a left and then make another right, and then you would arrive. Then it really depends on how important it is for you to arrive to that location. If it is really important to you, then yeah, you're really seeking. We go back to the word guidance. You're seeking guidance, and you need some way to arrive there. But if that is not that important to you, then there might be a lot of ayats such as like you're gonna be in Jahannam khalidan fiha, and I see that certainly as okay. Then you're gonna make a left, and you're not gonna follow this road, and that's not good for you. And it's just a factual thing. I almost see it as like there is no emotion, or at least this is my own experience. There is no emotion involved here. Like, hey, is it important to you to arrive here? If it's important to you, then you do this, this, this. And if it's not important to you, then yeah, make a left. You will not like that very much.
Jazakallah khairan. Suhail, please go ahead.
I think, well, actually, can you repeat your question? Did you say, is it encouraging that the Quran uses this sort of language?
Oh, yes, that was the question. Like the author says, of the innumerable examples of its manner of exposition in the category of encouragement and urging. So when we read the ayahs, we should see some encouragement and urging for a target, for a purpose, let's say. And the question was, do you really have these or feel this encouragement when you read such ayahs?
If you don't mind me answering that, it's kind of what Abdulaziz said. Sometimes I feel you can take it as it's like you come to a fork in a road, two paths, and you can decide what path you want to take. But to me, it does kind of seem like that, and I would read the Quran like that, in the sense that do I want this? Let me do X. If I want Y, as if it's like an equation. But to me, what makes it encouraging, as Nursi points out, at least my view is sort of changed in that, unless you actually experience that in your personal life, then it can be sort of removed. what I mean to say is, so unless you're experiencing, the pain of the fire due to ungratefulness, it almost becomes some sort of external thing. But it's encouraging in the sense of, if you experience, the being served or being rewarded in this life, then it's almost sort of self-fulfilling, if that makes sense. It encourages you even more because you experience it and you don't want to lose that experience. And the only way to not lose that experience is looking to the hereafter or the eternal life. So it's sort of predicated or on the basis that you actually have that experience in this life, rather than just sort of seeing it as sort of transactional almost. Well, it's going to happen in the next life, so let me do X, Y, and Z if I want that. And the reason I kind of said it, I would say, is, how do you know you really want something unless you've, experienced it or tasted it? At least a brief moment of it, or a brief fleeting moment. That's kind of how I see it, and that's why, to me, it's encouraging, because it sort of reminds you what you already know. So those are my thoughts.
Jazakallah khairan. Yes, in a very important point, like there's always a danger that this kind of narrations or ayahs will be remote to us. Something that we never experience, something that we cannot make sense, but as a just big, the claims or big promises. Speaking of big claims and promises, Abdulaziz articulates some big words. In chat, he says operant conditioning. Big words for me, he adds. So Abdulaziz, if you like to articulate what you meant here, please go ahead just after Hatice Beyza, inshallah, because she was raising her hand. Please go ahead, Hatice.
I think the comment was there before my hand. So
it doesn't matter. Like the comment was there, I read it, so
okay.
the comment served its purpose. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. So yeah, I was just thinking about the question that you asked before as well, and just like an overview of the feelings that I get from this surah. Being that first and foremost, in the way that it begins, as was highlighted by yourself and Brother Yusuf as well, it's humbling in the sense that it begins with putting me in my correct place. It's like know who you are, or know your position as you as I tell you something else, as I guide you through this further explanation of what is to come or what is. And then secondly, again, as was mentioned before, not in the sense of like transactional, do XYZ and you'll get ABC or whatever, but in the sense that as I read this, first and foremost, it addresses the desire within me to want someone or something to know what it is that I desire. So my need for eternal life is acknowledged to begin with. And not only is it acknowledged, then it's saying, look, in this and that way, it will be fulfilled. And at the same time, at least as I was reading it, I was thinking about, how whatever it is that is being described here for the believers and however it defines the disbelievers, of course, I always need to keep myself in check. And based on what my reality is right now, whatever conditions that I find my existential reality to be in, I can kind of check myself. If I am, because, you know, as was said before, like I have to have tasted something in order to kind of have like a reference point in a way. So whatever is being described here with springs and silk and stuff like that, you know, it refers to, as far as I understand, a sense of inner peace, or the need for perfection, or the need for, basically the need for absolute and different, as many qualities or names that I can think of. So when I check this against my own reality right now as I read it, I can kind of try to see where it is that I am. Because it doesn't just, you know, it doesn't just explain the conditions for the believers, it also explains the conditions for the disbelievers. So there might be something that resonates with me as far as my condition, my current condition is concerned, when it describes the disbelievers. So I need, in a way, like it guides me as well to kind of have this compass to know where it is that how I am within myself. Am I aligned within myself, or am I misaligned, or am I facing another direction, perhaps? So you know, it's overall, I would say it's just it's a mercy, both in the way that it acknowledges what it is that I desire, but at the same time it's a guide, as a guide, or it acts as a guide, as a like it's a I don't know if this is the correct term, but like a self-help sort of book, in the sense that it allows me to have some sort of means or reference point to evaluate myself. And not saying that this is the only way to evaluate oneself, but already kind of like using what is already within me with what is being described here, and just kind of checking if those two things align, or where they align, or where they don't align, if that makes sense. Thank you.
Jazakallah khairan. Yes, it definitely makes perfect sense. Alhamdulillah. Thank you. So I will give mic to Ashanur Abdul Rahman, unless Abdulaziz would like to explain his comments.
Okay, I'm gonna go quickly, and I don't want anyone to be impressed, because I'm kind of reading from my book next to me, and I just kind of wrote that because the operant conditioning kind of reminded me of what we were talking about. And it's interesting because it means that our actions, like, at least is my own experience, is my action followed by desired reward or removal of aversive stimulus. Is like when I read, like I need to experience myself personally that if I follow this, I will feel a good, like get good feeling, or like basically a desired reward, or something was bothering me will go away. And that would be the first option, which is following the taking this as a guidance. And the other option would be also is my repeated application. Like, do I receive like repeated application of the aversive stimulus? So basically, every time I make a left and I was supposed to make a right, I receive that sort of unwanted feeling. Anyways, for everyone listening, I'm basically reading from a book, but it really reminds me of what we were talking about, and that's why I wrote it and made sure I spelled it correctly. Then I laughed because they were big words for me.
Jazakallah khairan for the explanation. I have to think about it to see whether I follow it fully or not, but Jazakallah khairan. Ashanur and Abdurrahman, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. So I don't know if this is relevant to the question you're asking about the encouragement, but I was reading because I know Nursi was mentioning later on, but I was reading the beginning of the surah where it started, and I did feel there was some encouragement there, or at least encouragement to be a human. The surah's name is Insan, and then it was interesting for me that the first 4 verses are starting with indeed. And I was thinking, let's say you're a human and you're wondering why you're a human, or like what's the purpose of being human. And it's like it starts with indeed. Like maybe you come with a question like this in your mind, and then it answers, indeed we have created man from a drop that we may try him, and we made him hearing and seeing. And then like immediately I think, why am I being tried? Can't you help us? Or I don't want to be tried, I want things to be easy. And then it's interesting that the next one again starts indeed. I have a question. Indeed we guided him. Like I'm asking for ease, and it's saying we have guided him, and then it's saying be he grateful or ungrateful. And I'm thinking, how am I being guided that I need to be grateful for? And he says, indeed again, we have prepared for disbelievers chains and shackles and a blaze, and indeed the righteous will drink from a cup whose mixtures of kufr. So there's like the guide, or what I'm understanding is like it's what the guidance is that when you're a disbeliever, you're going to be chained and you're going to be in a blaze. And when you're righteous, you won't be chained. You're going to be drinking a mixture. And there's like this pain and ease that we experience. And this is actually like a gratefulness that we should have. It's kind of what I'm reading into this. And the verses go on into saying like how you should live to be of the people that will, be able to drink, or that will be righteous. It says encouragements of how you should live. Like they will give food in spite of love for it to the needy and the orphan and the captive. This is like how to be a human is what I'm like. There's encouragement here to how to be a human, and it's just I just wanted to make a comment about that.
Jazakallah khairan. I'm waiting for Abdulaziz, please go ahead.
Sorry, I'm talking too much. So can you go to 28, I believe, the ayah 28 in...
Okay, you just give me a second and I will copy it because I don't have it in my document.
Okay, I'm just looking
right?
for... No, I'm talking about the ayah 28 of Surah Al-Insan.
Okay, 28, it says, and the dying one is certain that it is the time of separation.
I'm looking for...
Sorry, I'm reading from... Okay, you're right. I'm reading from wrong surah, sorry. 28.
I'm looking for إن هذه تذكرة فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه سبيلا.
Yes. We have created them and strengthened their forms, and when we will, we can change their likeness with alteration.
I'm not sure that's the ayah I'm looking for. Maybe something in the ayahs is different in different versions. What I'm looking for is my English is not catching up with me. It's like a sentence that would be saying, this is a reminder. And if you would like to take a path to your creator, you can do that. Something like that. Do you see that? No?
Probably there's a miscommunication in terms of the ayah numbers.
Yeah. This should be the last 4 sentences of Surah Al-Insan. So.
Okay. It is ayah 29. Indeed, this is a reminder. So he who wills may take to his Lord a way.
Yes.
Okay, it's 29.
So it's right. It's 29. So 29 and 30. So I just wanted to add, it's like, first of all, to me, it doesn't seem to carry tons of emotions to me, at least there. Like this is This is tazkira, like you and like I'm telling you, this is like a reminder for you. And if you would like, at least this is my reading, I'm reading it in Arabic, to take this path, you can take it. And then it followed with, but you, وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ. And I think this is, the next one is key, because you need also to ask to be in that correct setting. I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, I'm a little lost, but you need to ask for that, because also don't take it for granted. Okay, I'll stop. That I just wanted to bring this up.
Oh, I think I was talking to myself. My mic was off, right?
Yes, it
Okay.
was.
Anyway, you missed the perfect joke as usual. So please, Yusuf, go ahead.
So in the verse that Aziz mentioned, so it says, إن هذه تذكرة. Indeed, this is a reminder. فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه سبيلا. This verse is ending with a path to your Lord. إلى ربه سبيلا. And the verse that also the author mentioned, which was talking about Salsabila. So in the paradise, it was talking about flowing rivers of Salsabil, which is an interesting wording, because in one of the translations, it mentions that according to a narration from Imam Ali, the Salsabila is translated as search your path, like taking it as a compound word. It was also interpreted as searching your path. So, and now that the chapter is being concluded with this, saying that which path are you going to, as if which path are you going to search for? You're going to search for a path that takes you to your Lord, because everybody is searching for a path, or using our like modern day language, a career trajectory. But we are looking for a career in which we would like to climb the ladders and get more appreciation and fame, and also some money. So much so that after age 70, everybody is going to forget about who we were. And this verse is as if saying that this is the path that you should be searching for. And actually, this is, as we are coming to the end of the chapter, we are like, the story is now being completed. And it's saying that everything that was mentioned so far, like you being insignificant, everything being provided to you because you are filled with all those desires and they are being provided. And actually, all those desires are being provided by the mere fact that you are being spoken to by your creator. He speaks to you. And then at this end, at the end of this whole chapter, it's saying that, see, you have this desire, and this desire is being fulfilled by your creator speaking to you. Then follow this path. Like, he is inviting you, he is taking you serious, he's talking to you, and this is what you were in need of. Then follow this path. This is your path. And then with the verse that Aziz mentioned, وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلِيمًا حَكِيمًا. Then this, and in walking in this path, the most thing that you can do is to will to walk in this path. He is going to be the one that will take you walk in this path. So be mindful of this, be appreciative of this too, that you are being taken as someone to walk in that journey. This is also a gift to you, because you might also be get stuck in walking in another trajectory, not in the trajectory or the career path of getting to know your Lord. your creator, your sustainer, but you might get stuck with in another trajectory, which is exclusively how to make more money or how to be more famous. These sort of things might have been your obsession too. So, but rather see the path that is now open in front of you, you are being spoken to, then adhere to the invitation and get to walk on this path. And then again, he is going to be the one who will make you walk on this path. It's not that you are going to say, oh, now I am donning the world and I am going to walk on this path to my Lord. The Creator says, no, not that much either. Don't think that you are important when you are walking on this path either. It is with him who is going to make you walk on this path too. Be appreciative of that. Don't think that you were insignificant when you were worldly, but now that you become otherworldly, you are becoming significant. Not the very least. There is no you who is significant in and of itself. Your creator is the one that makes everything you as you. It's not that I become more creative or anything of that sort. So, but being in this case, I should be more appreciative. And as you have been saying since the beginning, just appreciate, be thankful for all that is being provided to you, because whatever you have is being provided to you. You don't have anything inherently at your own disposal. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khairan. So, Suhail, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief since we're at the end, but just, based on what the previous comments were, from that verse, it's kind of along with what Yusuf said. It's interesting, when the Quran says, keep saying reminder, inna hadhihi tadhkira, or tadhkira, that a reminder as if to say you already know it. It's already within you, or ingrained, or programmed, or you're endowed or bestowed, whatever word you want to use. This desire that he's reminding you of. But in one sense, it's a reminder just to wake you up to it. In another sense, it's an encouragement, because it's as if saying this sort of eternal satisfaction is guaranteed because you already have it within you, the desire for it. And I'm reminding you what I've already given you. It's not like it will be given. It already has been given. You just need to wake up to the realization. And the only thing you need to do, as Yusuf, pointed out, I mean, you have nothing to do with it. You have nothing to do with being bestowed this sort of desire that's already innate within you, which in a way guarantees and looks to eternal satisfaction, or for that matter, the reminder from him, which is, a mercy, and in another sense, as Mercy points to, encouragement, because you're not forgotten. That eternal desire is not forgotten. He's speaking to it through his divine speech. All you have to do is make a choice to return to him. That's it. Nothing more than that. You can't create anything. You can't do anything. You can't even create your ability to choose. But what you can do is simply make the choice. That's it. And the rest is taken care of for you. So when you think about it in that way, man's purpose becomes very straightforward and obvious, rather than, as Yusuf pointed out, like chasing things that are illusions, because they don't really, you're just trying to replace something, eternal satisfaction, with something transient or temporary that you already know inherently isn't satisfactory. Otherwise, you wouldn't be chasing it, or chasing something to the top, or trying to, as he pointed out, earn as much as you possibly can. Everybody knows it. I mean, anybody who says they don't feel this way, to me, I feel like they're just deluding themselves. But the choice is rather simple. And the only choice one can make is returning to his creator.
Jazakallah khairan. So there was an emphasis on reminder part, and that was beautifully explained by many commentators already. Oh, Yusuf, I will give the mic to you, and then with you, let's conclude the discussion, inshallah. So just keep this in mind.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair. Very briefly. So, وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ is also a very beautiful reminder in itself. So, if God does not will, you cannot will. And this, in a sense, is highlighting the point that if human questions himself or herself, we will realize that as if the only thing that remains to me is the choice. And the Creator is saying that, and that you have is being granted to you by me. I am giving you the option to choose freely. It's not, I mean, even the free choice is not something that is inherently yours. As if to remind that, oh human, there is nothing that you can cling to and say that this is mine. It's not given, but it is mine. But this verse is saying that this is the tiny thing that I leave to you for your responsibility. But that even the ability to choose is being given to you. Be aware of that. So that level of a consciousness you should be in, and this is why actually you are in need of that guidance. So just that very briefly.
Jazakallah khairan. So there's a this perfect harmony, perfect connection between the beginning of the surah and the ending of the surah. That, you know, there have been a time when your name was not even mentioned, that you were not a thing. Nobody said Birkan, referring to myself, of course. Some other people may have the same name. So you were not even there. And then the ending of the surah, the same way, after talking about all these rewards, all these the bounties, again, relocating myself, that even this free will, the ability to choose, is something given to me. So my duty, or the only thing I can do, is just be grateful. Nothing more. Just be grateful. Okay, Jazakallah khairan, everyone. Unless there's a final remark, question, or a reminder, I will end the discussion today, inshallah. We will, I assume, continue with the next example, which is about, this example was about encouragement, and inshallah next week we will talk about another example about the deterring or threatening. And this time we will talk about how, as you can imagine, yes. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. الفاتحة.